Hi, I'm Robin and I produce most of the music and visuals for Soul Circus. The music for Night Vision is going to be very simple. Going to use a kind of a loop of words, very much inspired by Taizé. We might include a little bit of that in the worship time as well. So it's going to be some simple words just sung over and over again in a loop with some music over a period of time to allow those words to really embed in us. Using technology as I do, I like to use things like Native Instruments Machine. I also like to use Ableton Live. This time I'm using Ableton. I've also got a synth I'm going to be using along with that. I'm going to try and build up layers as we go rather than having too much pre-recorded or pre-looped. We're going to build up the performance as we go with guitar, with voice, and kind of create this layer of sound to which everyone can either participate or listen to and absorb, and then we can join together in something which is perhaps better known towards the end. For Night Vision, we're looking at the sort of the darker side of our faith. We're looking at the Lent time when perhaps we feel more deserted, we feel less filled with promise and less filled with certainty, because Lent is all about potential. It's all about things where we're not quite there, and we can often find ourselves in some kind of wilderness. So that's where the idea of night, darkness, a lack of light, perhaps a certain amount of fumbling and searching and exploring going on, that's definitely coming to this theme of Night Vision for this particular Soul Circus. When we think about nighttime, when we think about God, we read a lot of stories where people were contacted during their dreams or during the night. Samuel was called out of his bed, Mary was visited in the night. Angels seem to have this nighttime thing where they visit shepherds in great big hordes. But because it's Lent, because we're thinking about our journey perhaps in a wilderness, musically I want us to think about more about the absence of light, the absence of certainty, and for many, many people, the absence of the voice of God at all.
Never heard your voice at all. I never heard your call. I never heard your voice at all.
So perhaps very easily we tend to say, oh, I feel I've heard from God about something, when actually many people don't. Many people don't ever seem to feel that. And it's actually through things like the Eucharist, through the sacraments, through the rituals that we do, that we're able to anchor ourselves in something that's not dependent on us having some kind of nighttime vision or a personal call. Because I believe there's lots and lots of people, lots of Christians who don't hear from God, who don't hear a voice in the night, who don't necessarily feel that there's a real call going on.
I never heard your voice at all. I never heard your call. Once again, I never heard your voice at all. Never heard your call. Once again, heard your call. Once again I come. I never heard your voice at all. I never heard your call.
We should be exploring the absence of the voice of God and coming to terms with what that means and how perhaps that isn't as important as perhaps we're led to believe. And in exploring these things, we'll perhaps realise that we're more in tune with God than we think. And it's not dependent upon us hearing voices. It's dependent on us approaching God.